In the heart of a vast desert, nestled between towering sand dunes, there was an ancient, forgotten village called Al-Qariya. The village had once been a thriving oasis, but over the centuries, it had been abandoned, its ruins slowly consumed by the relentless sands. Only a few survivors remained, scattered across the surrounding towns, but their eyes always flickered with a lingering fear when the village was mentioned. The story of Al-Qariya was steeped in legends, the most chilling of which was the tale of the Whispering Jinn. It was said that long ago, a wealthy merchant named Karim had come to the village, seeking a fortune in rare spices and gold. Karim was a man of greed and ambition, and he would stop at nothing to gain more wealth. He had heard rumors of a hidden treasure buried deep beneath the village, guarded by spirits of unimaginable power, the Jinn. In his pursuit of riches, Karim paid no heed to the warnings of the elders, who spoke of a forbidden ritual that had once been performed in the village, awakening a vengeful Jinn that now haunted the area. But Karim was undeterred. He believed in nothing but his own strength and cunning. He ventured deep into the heart of Al-Qariya, ignoring the ominous silence that seemed to swallow the air around him. The once beautiful houses had decayed into skeletal remains, and the streets were empty, save for the occasional rattling of bones blown by the wind. The further he went, the more he felt an unsettling presence, as if something was watching him from the shadows. As night began to fall, a strange whispering voice echoed through the empty village. At first, Karim thought it was the wind, but as the whispers grew louder, he realized they were coming from somewhere deeper within the village, perhaps from beneath the earth. His curiosity got the better of him, and he followed the sound. He came upon an old stone well, cracked and covered in dust. The whispering seemed to come from within. Karim, with a mixture of excitement and dread, leaned over the well's edge, peering into the darkness below. The air grew colder, and the voice spoke clearer now, a soft, melodic tone that seemed to beckon him. "Come closer, Karim. Come closer, and I will grant your deepest desires." Without thinking, Karim reached out, drawn by the promise of power and wealth. His fingers brushed against something cold and smooth within the well. Suddenly, the ground beneath him trembled, and the stone surrounding the well cracked open, revealing a dark, swirling vortex. Before Karim could react, a force from below yanked him into the depths. He screamed, but his cries were swallowed by the dark abyss. The next morning, the villagers who lived nearby heard his screams echoing across the desert, but when they came to search, there was no trace of Karim. All that remained was a faint whisper in the wind. For years, the village of Al-Qariya remained untouched, its location becoming nothing more than a faded memory. But the whispers never stopped. They grew stronger over time, carried on the wind to those who dared to wander too close. One day, a group of travelers, unaware of the village's dark history, passed through the desert. Among them was a young woman named Layla, who had heard tales of the lost village and the treasure hidden within. Intrigued by the mystery, she decided to find the village and uncover its secrets. Her companions warned her not to go, but Layla was determined. As she ventured deeper into the desert, the temperature dropped and the air grew still. Soon she found herself standing at the edge of Al-Qariya. The village, though long abandoned, seemed to pulse with an eerie energy. Layla's heart raced, but she pressed on, following the overgrown path into the village. The ruins were just as desolate as Karim had found them. The houses were crumbling, the streets empty, but the whispers were already there, curling around her ears, beckoning her forward. The voice was faint at first, but it grew clearer as she walked deeper into the village, just like the stories had described. "Layla, Layla, you are destined to find what was lost." She followed the voice, her feet moving almost of their own accord. The whispers seemed to lead her to the same well where Karim had disappeared. The stone was still cracked, and the cold air emanating from it made her shiver. Layla stood there, staring into the darkness, as the voice called to her once again. "Come closer, Layla. Your heart is full of desire. You seek the treasure of the Jinn, but at what cost?" Before Layla could react, a figure materialized before her, tall and shadowy, its eyes glowing a bright, unsettling red. It was a Jinn, but not the kind that granted wishes. This was the Jinn of vengeance, born from the greed of men like Karim, and it had been waiting for centuries to claim another soul. The Jinn spoke, its voice like a chorus of whispers. "You have come to seek what is mine, but you will not leave with it, for your greed will be your undoing." Layla's heart pounded in her chest. She tried to run, but her legs felt as if they were rooted to the ground. The air grew thick, and the whispers intensified until they drowned out all other sound. The jinn's laughter echoed in her ears as it closed in, its form shifting and distorting like a shadow. She could feel its cold breath on her skin, and her vision blurred as the world around her began to darken. In that moment, Layla understood the terrible truth. The treasure was never meant to be claimed. It was a trap, a lure to feed the jinn's power. And now, it had her. The last thing Layla saw before the darkness consumed her was the jinn's glowing eyes, staring deep into her soul. Days later, a group of villagers from a nearby town arrived in Al-Qariya. They had heard the rumors of Layla's disappearance, and they came to search for her. But all that awaited them was the empty village and the faint sound of whispers carried on the wind. They never spoke of what they found, or what they didn't find. But from that day on, no one dared approach the ruins of Al-Qariya again. The Whispering Jinn had claimed its prize, and the cycle of greed and vengeance continued, as it always had, in the forgotten village where the wind carried secrets from 1,000 years ago. And so, the jinn waited for the next soul foolish enough to heed its call.